everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're back today with another video that will definitely have you rolling around on your carpet in fits of laughter. In today's video, we'll be showing you some of the ridiculous accidents that happen to other people, and unfortunately for them, everything got caught on camera. No wonder the invention of the camera is the reason so many people have been immortalized on the internet, but the ones in this video are bound to give you a good laugh. Before we get down to business, take a moment to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our latest releases. You can see in this clip the girls are lying on the sand so close to the water that the girls get swept up in the waves. One of them actually goes flying far away. It's almost always a bad idea to try filming or shooting in the water. These girls will probably never try this again. After all, becoming the meme of the week is something one can afford only once in their life. Being confident really works in one's favor until you're overconfident. Look at this man who was enjoying himself while trying to skip across the water. He probably was trying to avoid getting his shoes wet. He kind of overestimates his ability to jump a long distance. He didn't even realize that there's a slope on the other side, so he basically leaps and lands flat into the dirty water. So much for trying to save the shoes. Now he'll have to do his laundry. It's a shame though, he was quite close. This kind of thing happens when you haven't lost enough weight but want to try something cool and show off for your friends. Like this guy who underestimated his weight and took the plunge. He wanted to zip line across the small pond, but the cord didn't even last for the short distance and snapped under his weight, letting him fall in the water. Poor guy, we hope he didn't catch a cold. You probably didn't know that Poms are the most fashion-conscious dog breed. If that's not true, then why was this little guy so upset seeing the wedding dress he's casually standing on? Maybe he was sure it was the right fit. But what do we know? Maybe he actually liked it and wanted to borrow it. This footage is a precautionary tale for all the ladies out there. It's better to not wear short skirts or mini dresses on a plane, especially one that's going to do a zero-gravity maneuver, or you might end up in an embarrassing situation like this lady here. She had no idea what would happen to her, and therefore didn't see it coming when she was suddenly lifted up from her seat in the air, and as her legs went up, well, she ended up giving everyone a free show. And even more embarrassing is the fact that it was caught on camera and made it to the internet. The least you can do is have your belt fastened so you don't hit your head and end up with a concussion along with a public spectacle. Who would not consider themselves lucky if a star basketball player walked up to you during a match and reached out? This is what happened to the guy in the yellow shirt, except the player kind of has poor hand control and was probably distracted when he ended up spilling his drink on the poor guy. He didn't even notice the mess he made. This guy isn't afraid of anything, be it flamethrowers, tanks, or fighters. He's one tough soldier, but we all have our limitations and particularly unique fears. Turns out this guy couldn't handle it when a tarantula climbed into his tent. His tough military demeanor vanished in a jiffy and he ran for his life. I would have been right behind him. This is exactly what a successful prank looks like. Watch as these two people scare their friend who had no idea the guy was there. She genuinely seems shocked, and the noise she made when he booed her is so adorable. We hope she didn't get angry and leave though. It was just a harmless prank. Cats can be very arrogant at times, and most hate being a spectacle, especially when they know they just did something embarrassing. Look at this poor cat who slipped on the wet floor. He felt so humiliated, he ran back to his room to hide, and probably replayed that incident over and over again in his little cat mind while sitting in a quiet corner. After all, his kitty cat pride was hurt. Here's a precautionary tale for marine life enthusiasts. Don't be silly like these guys who tried catching a squid and cuttlefish using a fishing rod. Look at how unexpectedly the squid attacks them with its ink. These creatures know well enough to defend themselves against predators, so be prepared to go home with blue ink splashed all over your face. This guy was supposed to shoot virtually, but at the last moment, in all the excitement, he ends up shooting the controller straight into the screen. And from what we see, the damage seems permanent. Looks like his regretful sigh of exasperation won't help him get out of trouble though. Don't laugh so much, guys. It can happen to anyone. This one is by far our most favorite TikTok challenge fail. The trick is to balance a beer can on a basketball and then try grabbing it as it bounces off the ball once it hits the ground. And yes, not everyone can do it. Look at this girl who, in her struggle to catch the can, lost her balance and fell into the pool. Although she failed at the challenge, she did make a viral TikTok. We suspect that the girl filming this video knew something bad was going to happen when she prompted her friend to step on the ice. If you look closely, you can tell that the ice is pretty thin. Unfortunately, this poor girl fell in the freezing water thanks to her evil friend. She probably won't be getting a Christmas present this year. In Russia, you should always be diligent because you never know what kind of situation you might end up in. Like this guy who was just getting out of his car but slipped and fell face first into the snow. If he was smart, he would have worn something like skis or skates, and perhaps he would have avoided this embarrassing spectacle. Animals have a tendency to surprise you. They'll do all kinds of adorable things to keep your attention. For instance, look at this dog trying to grab the sky lantern that's falling down. The owner caught the lantern, but the dog has some other mischief in mind. He jumps and tears through it, perhaps thinking that's what he was supposed to do. We hope he didn't make this girl angry. The poor guy was just playing with a friend, right? This barista truly did want to turn around gracefully and take the tray of drinks to her customers, wish them a nice time, and probably make some tips. But her luck wasn't on her side, as you can see how suddenly the drinks in her tray fly off from the force of her turning around. She can't even register what happened for a split second. But it's great to see she takes it lightly and laughs about how ridiculous this was. What you see in this video is probably the worst bowling player in the history of the sport. It seems like he wasn't even aware of the rules or the fact that the ball is supposed to roll on the floor. He thought, hey, let's try this, and flung it across the room. This poor dog just wanted to bring his precious stick home, but as it turns out, the innocent creature had no idea the stick had to be the right size so that it could pass through the doorway. Unfortunately, changing directions didn't cross his mind, probably because he was too excited to get that darn stick into the house. It is quite adorable at how persistent he is, though. It's no surprise friends will find a way to have fun absolutely anywhere. That's exactly what these girls did when they started dancing and messing around with the car wash equipment. And like a true friend, the other one laughed hard before she went to rescue the other. This cat is seeing this much snow probably for the first time, when its owners decided to take it out for a walk after what seems like a night hit by a snowstorm. The feline had no idea what was going to happen once it jumped in the snow. By the looks of it, the poor creature won't be getting out anytime soon. There's a lot of Titanic fans who still think that Leo and Kate both could have fit on the door. But we have to say, if Leo was going to act like this guy here, it would be a tad bit difficult and both would have drowned probably. You can see how he's just a gone case. We've all dealt with a situation where we tried high-fiving a friend and they completely ignored us. Just look at LeBron James, whose high five was left hanging by his teammates. So he just high-fived himself, promoting many other people to step up. Who should be embarrassed in this case? Being a cat parent is no easy task. Just look at what this lady has to deal with. Her cat came home with a nose piercing. At least it's easily removable, unlike that tattoo your kid got without telling you. We can totally not relate to this one. After all, we can't afford private jets like these young people who are flying out to a luxury vacation on an island, but they forgot to secure their luggage, and now it's all tumbling down. We'd love to have such luxurious problems. And it turns out the bag arrived safely to its destination anyway. That's good luck. Sometimes your pet might behave like a little kid. Look at this adorable husky who was so focused on watching the birds fly away that he didn't notice himself run into a car. Thank gosh it was stationary. This poor guy looks so confused, and according to the owner, this has happened to the poor dog before. This girl seems quite lucky as her boyfriend is there to support her in taking Instagrammable pictures to post for her followers. He doesn't whine and complain like most guys. Instead, he even pitches ideas for nicer shots. And one idea was to get her to jump so he could get her in an action shot. Turns out that was a mistake. Who knew she would get stuck in the branch with her bikini? Anyway, she did get some viral content that would bring her loads of followers. So it's a lose-win situation. In the video, it seems like the pilot of this plane has some old debts to settle with these technicians. Or maybe the poor guy is completely unaware that these guys are standing so close to the plane. After all, they should know better than to stand this close to the engine. It's extremely necessary to ensure you know how much weight a structure that's under construction can bear, because if you don't, you might end up like these guys. Besides making a fool of themselves, they'll also have to be answerable for the structure collapsing. This cat and mouse duo seems like they're in a feud with each other, just like Tom and Jerry have been for decades now. Just look at how scared this poor little mouse looks. Check out this man as he tried to bring down the branch he cut off from the tree, but it seems like he had no idea that the branch was going to be heavier than him. The poor guy gets dragged as the branch comes down. This pedestrian seems to be extremely lucky, as you can see. The way the vehicle speeds by him with just an inch to spare. Any closer and this could have resulted in a fatal accident, or at least a few broken bones. This woman looks like a pro skateboarder, but even the best of us sometimes face difficulty in maintaining our balance. And that's exactly what happened to this woman who stumbled and fell flat on her back. She looks quite disappointed in herself. That's all for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Do tell us in the comments which one had you laughing the most. See you all next time.